Hello YouTube, welcome back to another watch video. I am very pleased to share with you this review of my G-Shock gold color. I will say this is my third G-Shock that I have ever owned in my life, and so I am a fan of G-Shock watches for many reasons that I'll go over in this review video, but let's go ahead and begin and let's do our wristwatch check. Here I am wearing my Christopher Ward C60 Trident. Again, if you've been following my other videos, you know that I'm a fan of diving watches, and this is a watch that does not disappoint. Here it is on the original stainless steel bracelet. But back to my G-Shock. All right, so let us begin. This is the G-Shock model number GD-X6900FB. And I will say this is a very big watch, but if you have been looking at G-Shocks, or if you own a G-Shock, you know that they tend to come in a fairly big, sporty, masculine size. Now, I acquired this watch. I purchased it online back in April of 2016, so I have had this watch for 5 years now in my watch collection. And I hope you will agree with me that it has held up well to the test of time. In fact, this watch has held up the best amongst all my 3 G-Shocks, probably partly because I don't wear this watch every day, whereas when I had my other G-Shocks, they were my daily watch. But I do consider this to be somewhat not only of a sporty and durable watch, but also somewhat of a fashion watch, as you can see from the very flashy gold color. Now, the MSRP on this watch is $130. Now, I acquired it for less back in 2016, and it actually still could be acquired for less online. I checked it today, and I did see that this watch was on sale through reputable online watch stores for about $80. So it certainly can be purchased for less than what's listed on Casio and G-Shock's website. It does come with a 1-year warranty through the manufacturer if you purchase from a recognized online reseller. All right, let's begin. So when you first look at the watch, you see, of course, that flashy and reflective gold dial. So specifically, when I say dial, I mean the face of the watch. It does have that gold mirror face, as you can see. So the face of the watch with this kind of gold mirror finish that kind of surrounds and almost functions like a bezel. I mean, you do see the bezel around the face, but then this almost functions kind of like a bezel too. And inside, of course, you do see the little window here where you can actually see the time, and notice that it's black. And so that's kind of the opposite of where most watches have, especially if they're digital, they have a lighter colored background and then dark digits. This is the opposite. So it's a little bit different. It does have a dark or black background, and then if you can see it, kind of yellow or gold colored digits, which is a kind of nice touch, because sometimes if it has a black background, it might just have white digits, but this is really nice to have the gold colored digits, which flows with the theme of the watch, which is this, again, this flashy gold color. And you see, of course, in pretty large, easy to read digits, the time. Currently at 2:53 p.m. You see the time, including the seconds. You see the P over there, which indicates that it's currently in the afternoon. And you see the day of the week, Sunday, and you also see today's date. So it has quite a bit of information present as soon as you can see and look at the watch at a quick glance. DST for daylight savings time as well. Now, as you can see up here, it has 3 little meters, and that's actually counting off seconds. So not only can you see the seconds indicated here, but you also see the seconds just kind of counting down, and then of course it indicates that 10 seconds has passed so far, as you can see. So these meters are just more, I would say, decorative, not as much functional, but it's just a nice touch that when you have such a big face on the watch, that there's indeed a lot of features on there. Now, there's a lot of words as well. You see Casio and shock resistant, and again, that's one of the appeals of these watches, is that it's very shock resistant, shock absorbent, in other words, safe to wear in sports and activities, or even professionally as well. If you have a job where you're hitting or making contact with your wrist or your hands as you're working, that you want a watch that can take the beating. So, and then it has an illuminator here. Not sure why it shows those two arrows, but simply put, when you push this button, it illuminates the color there. As you can see, there's a quick glance of the lighting. And it just makes it easier to read overall, but especially, of course, if you're in a dark setting. And we'll show you later how the video clip where we are illuminating this in the nighttime or in a dark environment. G-Shock on the top, of course. And I would say they could have done a better job of making it gold color. It looks more like a faded yellow color. And even though this watch is 5 years old, that's pretty much what it looked like when I got the watch. Water resist, 20 bar, or in other words, 20 atmospheres or 200 meters of water resistance for this watch. It says reverse and forward because those are secondary functions when you press these buttons, in addition to the functions that are written or imprinted in black that also indicate functions as well. But you see resist and forward, so when you're setting and selecting in the menus, you can hit it forward or reverse, obviously, forward, reverse. And then for the alarm chronograph, for setting an alarm, you can set it with this button or select with this button. So that's what those words mean on the face of the watch. And then on the bezel, you also see adjust and mode, split/reset, and start and stop for other features that we'll show you in just a little bit. And other than the gold color, the rest of the rest of the watch is black. So specifically, it has a black resin band, which again is very sturdy. It can show some marks, but I have since then kind of cleaned up this band to show you guys again how good it really looks. I like the shiny finish. Not all G-Shocks have a shiny finish. Some of them have a more matte finish, but this is really nice because again it goes with the kind of flashy character of this G-Shock. And as you can see on the bottom, it does have a little buckle, and that's how it basically secures on the wrist. It has a nice little touch here with again a shiny gold colored and G-Shock imprinted on the buckle. And the band appears to be secured by these screws. I have never tried to remove the band off of the watch. I imagine it's possible, but certainly not necessary. Of course, since this is in pretty good condition. When you look on the back of the watch, you do see just the kind of generic stainless steel back that you get on most of the G-Shocks. Specifically, so it has a little G for G-Shock, shock resist, made in Thailand. Water resist, 20 bar, Casio 3420, and then it has the actual model number, as I said earlier, the GD-X6900 FB. So stainless steel back, of course, that's what's indicated here. If you wanted to change the battery, it looks like it's obviously not difficult. You just remove those 4 screws, but let me tell you, since purchasing this watch, and if you saw in my other video, I actually misplaced this watch and had lost it for about 2 years before I found it in a little watch box I had hidden away. I have not had to change this battery because the battery is rated at 10 years, which is pretty much unheard of. Most of the other watches I have that run off of a battery, or in other words have a quartz movement, usually the battery needs to be replaced every 2 to 3 years. So this is fantastic that it has a 10-year battery life. I can account that at least it has a 5-year battery life because that's as long as I've had it and I have not had to change it. It does use a standard CR2032 watch battery. All right, so what else to say about this watch? It weighs about 84 grams. And the diameter is, again, rather large. I'll show you in a little bit what it looks like on the wrist, but it's about 53 millimeters in diameter, and it rests about 20 millimeters off of the wrist. So let's go through the features on the watch, because again, this watch is about features, as is most G-Shocks. So mode, you select that, and then you can get to world time. Now this is a pretty nifty thing. And again, you can kind of go forward and reverse. So you see New York City, and now we're in a different time zone, so we're an hour ahead. Let's go backwards. You can see Miami, which of course is the same as New York. Then Chicago time zone, apparently Mexico City, Denver, Los Angeles, San Francisco. So you could just go through different time zones. It's so easy to change, and the best part is it just stays up like this. So whenever you travel, you just push those buttons and you can immediately see the time that you are or where you are. And then of course, when you return home from your trip, you just go back to your regular time. I guess that's probably this. So good. Okay, anyways, so we showed you world time. Here we have stopwatch. So stopwatch, of course, is it's your standard stopwatch, as you can see here. And so of course it's showing you hours, minutes, seconds, and then tenths of a second. So if you stop it, you can actually see how many, or hundredths of a second. And so you can continue timing, or of course you can reset it. Now the other option which I had pushed here was where you can have a countdown where it counts down before it starts. So as you can see, it goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then it starts the stopwatch, which I guess is a pretty nifty feature. So it can kind of count down, say if you wanted to do running or a race, or you wanted to let the watch kind of set the start time for you, then that's a pretty cool feature. All right, next mode, timer. So you can set a timer here. In this case, it's already set to 7 minutes. And so you can simply start it, and as you can see, it's counting down. And of course, when it finishes counting down, it will beep. It'll audibly beep just like these sounds when I'm pressing it. And so it will actually be able to be pretty audible and obvious when the timer has finished. And you can set this to a different time, obviously. And then alarm, this does have 3 different alarms. So you can set different alarms, you can set snooze, and it's just nifty to have alarms. This is not a feature that I commonly use since I use my phone for most alarms, but for individuals who prefer to set the alarm on their watch, they certainly can do that. Or obviously if you're going and traveling and you're without your phone for an extended period, it's nice to have these features in your watch. So very good. All right, we're back to the time display, and let's go ahead and see what it looks like on the wrist, shall we? So let's go ahead and take off my Christopher Ward diving watch. We'll set this down, and let's put this on the wrist. And there we have it. That's what it looks like on the wrist. As you can see, it definitely has a larger footprint than the watch I took off. And the watch I took off is actually pretty large to begin with. It's 43 millimeters, but this is again 53 millimeters. It's an entire centimeter wider than the watch you just saw on my wrist. I have a 7-inch wrist. To some people this might be big, but I like this look. It really is, again, very sporty, very masculine. It's something that people will notice when they're looking at your wrist and looking at your hand. They will see this watch very visibly, very present on the wrist. And of course, that gold color certainly helps with that too. And again, it's so easy just to press this button and have a little bit of illumination, an easier time seeing the dial. It does stick up pretty far off of the wrist. I don't find that to be a problem. Of course, this is a more casual watch, meaning you're not really going to be wearing this with a suit and tie or fitting this under a shirt cuff, so it should not be a problem. You'll be wearing this, again, more casual, without, say out with a t-shirt or even at the beach or swimming. So that's perfectly fine. Again, very nice looking, flashy watch, but again, very classy. It is a G-Shock, something that most people will recognize when they see the watch. All right, my viewers and my friends, you know the drill. If you like this button, hit the like button, and absolutely the most important thing that you could do to help me is to subscribe to this channel, so that way you can follow my adventures as I share my watch collection with you, as well as my watch discovery and watch new watches. So please follow along, and I'll see you in the next watch video. You guys have a wonderful day.